Why Joel Embiid will win the 2017 Rookie of the Year. With Ben Simmons recently getting injured and possibly missing the entire 2017 NBA season, the Rookie of the Year discussions have been a hot topic recently. In this video, I want to talk about Joel Embiid, a guy that I think had the potential to be the first overall pick in the 2014 NBA draft had he not been injured. The guys that are fighting for Rookie of the Year this season are Ben Simmons if he comes back. In fact, had Ben Simmons not gotten injured, this video would probably be based on him. The other guys are Brandon Ingram, Buddy Hield, and Dunn. I mean, Jaylen Brown has a lot of potential, but he just won't get many minutes on a contending Boston Celtics team. And a sleeper for Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, is actually Jamal Murray. But if you ask me right now, who would I pick to win Rookie of the Year out of everyone in the NBA? I'd lean towards former Kansas basketball player, a Jayhawk that's set to make his NBA debut this season, and a player who could easily become a force in the league for years to come, Joel Embiid. Obviously, Joel Embiid has not ever played an NBA game, but the man possesses undeniable talent. Now reportedly 7'2", the center at times during his freshman season was actually compared to Hakeem Olajuwon. Well, a young Hakeem Olajuwon. Which is pretty crazy, but that's actually who he was compared to. So for the number 3 overall pick in the 2014 NBA draft, I guess you could say he's been a little bit of a disappointment for the Philadelphia 76ers, but it will only take one spectacular injury-free rookie season for all to be forgiven. In this video, we'll discuss what has to go right for Joel Embiid to win Rookie of the Year, we'll talk about what might go wrong for Embiid, we'll discuss the other Rookie of the Year candidates, and the entire 76ers big man situation, and how it will affect Joel Embiid. Also, I got most of my information off a site called KU Sports, which I'll leave a link to in the description box down below. Rookie of the Year is not like the MVP. In fact, the past 10 seasons, no Rookie of the Year has led their team to a winning record. Needless to say, winning isn't a factor when it comes to winning the award. As we all know, winning is something that doesn't go hand in hand when you talk about Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, you don't think of winning and the 76ers in the same sentence. Well, maybe when Allen Iverson was there, but never since. For Joel Embiid's sake, and in terms of his health, let's assume that the never-ending rehab is all over. All goes to plan, and Embiid plays, say, somewhat around 70 games this season. The big man with his powerful finishing ability and shooting range will be given the opportunity to put up big numbers for a rebuilding franchise coming off a woeful 10-72 win season. The 76ers have no established star or face of the franchise returning to feature offensively. Don't be surprised also to see a trade occur early in the season. Philadelphia's other recent lottery big men, Nerlens Noel and Jahlil Okafor, have been the subject of trade rumors, so you can figure the 76ers won't mind finding a healthy Joel Embiid ahead of those two, should they both remain with the team. Plus, Joel Embiid is taller, more athletic, and more versatile on both ends of the floor than Jahlil Okafor, who averaged 17.5 points, 7 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks for the Philadelphia 76ers while playing just 53 games this past season. It's not too difficult to envision Embiid replicating or surpassing that production in his first season in the league, putting him firmly in the mix for the NBA's Rookie of the Year hardware. The center role is open to be filled. While the organization likely has to temper its expectations regarding Joel Embiid because of the uncertainty that accompanies his string of injuries, you get the sense that the team's decision makers are excited about the potential of their inexperienced center, as they are of the 2016 number 1 overall pick, Ben Simmons. The 76ers have light at the end of the tunnel with their duo of the future, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. It's just all about staying healthy. When discussing why Embiid will win Rookie of the Year, think about it like this. When you look at the history of NBA Rookie of the Year, winning the award basically comes down to individual scoring numbers, not wins and losses. Embiid is on a team that has no star players. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants, and the team is looking for a main piece to build around. And Embiid, depending on how many minutes he gets, will have the perfect opportunity to put up as many shots as he likes. The previous 10 winners of the Rookie of the Year are Karl-Anthony Towns, who averaged 18.3 points per game, Andrew Wiggins, who averaged 16.9 points per game, Michael Carter-Williams with 16.7, Damian Lillard with 19, Kyrie with 18.5, Blake Griffin with 22.5, Tyreke Evans with 20, Derrick Rose with 16.8, Kevin Durant with 20.3, and Brandon Roy with 16.8. When looking at those numbers, if Joel Embiid can manage around 17 points and 8 rebounds, he has a huge shot to win Rookie of the Year. Not to mention, he's on a trash 76ers team with no one. He doesn't have to worry about sharing the ball like Brandon Ingram, like Chris Dunn, like Jaylen Brown. Embiid literally has no one. Also, Embiid wouldn't be the first rookie to bring home the honor after missing their first season or two in the league. Blake Griffin, the number 1 overall pick in the 2009 NBA draft, missed the following season with the LA Clippers due to a broken kneecap, only to return to the court in striking fashion a year later. Now, the things that may go wrong for Joel Embiid in my opinion are, number 1, the 76ers limiting his minutes due to a risk of injury. The thing is, even if Embiid only plays around 60 games, he'll have a chance to win Rookie of the Year depending on his stat line. As much as we think that injuries would be a disqualifier for Rookie of the Year award, they haven't been. Two recent examples are Kyrie Irving and Brandon Roy. They only played 51 games and 57 games respectively, yet they still managed to win the award. We've seen only 3 players in the past 13 seasons play all 82 games. Number 2, making Embiid come off the bench for the entire season. Number 3, injuries. Obviously he's missed the past 2 seasons with injuries, so we don't really know what we're expecting. And number 4, a possible trade to another team, but I doubt they're looking to trade Embiid. I think Noel or Jahlil Okafor will probably be the most 2 likely to go. So we've talked about the good and the bad scenarios for Joel Embiid. Now let's compare Joel Embiid with the other Rookie of the Year candidates. Number 1, Brandon Ingram. I think Ingram will one day be a star in the NBA, but I just don't see him winning Rookie of the Year this season. Well, yeah, I just don't see him winning Rookie of the Year. I think this year will be about learning for Brandon Ingram. I think fighting for his shots with players like D'Angelo Russell and Jordan Clarkson may come tough. He's coming off the bench behind Deng, who was a great mentor for Brandon Ingram. So like I said, it's all about learning. Ingram, however, may get the modest 25 minutes with an average of around 10 shots per game, but I just can't see that being enough for Brandon Ingram to win Rookie of the Year. But he may prove me wrong. Brandon Ingram seems like a really good player. Number 2, Jaylen Brown. I think it's pretty obvious why he won't win it, and no need to really explain it other than he won't get many minutes on a contending Boston Celtics team. They might even look to trade him this season, to be honest with you. If the Boston Celtics are making a run for the finals, I can possibly see them throwing in Jaylen Brown as an asset to acquire a superstar player to compete for a championship. So yeah, I just don't see Jaylen Brown winning Rookie of the Year. Number 3, Buddy Hield. He's the guy that, in my opinion, that if Embiid doesn't win it, I think Buddy Hield will. The Pelicans wouldn't let Eric Gordon walk if they didn't think that Buddy Hield could start immediately. Not to mention, Hield is NBA ready. He's almost 23 years old and he's a mature player. And where Buddy Hield has the advantage over players like Murray and Chris Dunn is that the Pelicans have a star player already on their team in Anthony Davis. Davis is such a presence on the court that he will take the heat off the rookie Buddy Hield. Yes, Davis demands the ball, but is also a great passer for his position. He'll get the ball to the right people. Number 4, Chris Dunn. Out of all the rookies that got drafted this season, Chris Dunn honestly may have the most amount of talent out of anyone that got drafted. Which, I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but I think he's a really talented point guard. Dunn was taken with the 5th overall pick of the 2016 NBA draft by the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves took Dunn presumably as insurance for the always injured point guard, Ricky Rubio. Dunn averaged 16.4 points and 6.2 assists per game last season in college. The reason why I just don't think Chris Dunn will win Rookie of the Year is because he most likely will have to run with the second unit unless Ricky Rubio is injured. Now, Ricky Rubio always seems to be injured, so I guess he might have a chance, but I just think he's coming off the bench, and if Ricky Rubio stays healthy, then I just don't see him having enough time on the court to feature in the Rookie of the Year voting. He'll be a great player, and he'll be a star in the future in my opinion. The second problem for Chris Dunn is that he's playing on the same team as the previous 2 Rookie of the Year winners, Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Towns appears to be the leader of the team, with Wiggins supporting him. Dunn is going to have to find out his way on the team, which is still trying to find out their identity. The third problem for Chris Dunn is that he's competing with a number of players for his position. These include Ricky Rubio, Zach LaVine, and Tyus Jones for minutes in the backcourt for a young, exciting team. Now, Tyus Jones doesn't really count, but Zach LaVine and Ricky Rubio, yeah, they may take up a lot of the minutes for Chris Dunn. So, I don't know, it'll be close, but Chris Dunn, I think he'll be a great player for the future. I just don't think he's going to get too many minutes in his first season, so I just don't see him winning Rookie of the Year. Number 5, Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray was selected with the 7th overall pick in the 2016 NBA draft by the Denver Nuggets. Murray is another young guard on a young roster. This is going to be problematic for Murray with such a young team around him. Joseph Nurkic, Nikola Jokic, Emmanuel Mudiay and Will Barton are all important players in Denver, and none of them have more than 4 years experience. I like Jamal Murray, and I think he's a sleeper, but I just think players like Hield, Embiid, or even Brandon Ingram, or even Chris Dunn could do better depending on how many minutes they get. So I just don't see Jamal Murray winning it, but in saying that, I do think he's a sleeper. Don't sleep on Jamal Murray. I think if given the opportunities, he could show out this season. And lastly, the 7-foot center of Joel Embiid has been working out all summer and has shown in the preseason, although he's on minute restrictions for a good reason, that he's still been very impressive. Most recently, he posted a double-double against Washington in only 14 minutes up against a pretty decent center in Marcin Gortat. Obviously, it is preseason, you can't take too much into it, but it is our first time that we've really seen Joel Embiid play against actual NBA players, so that's what I got out of it. It's going to be hard for people to see him as a Rookie of the Year candidate when they've only seen him play a few preseason games, but Embiid has a ton of potential on a team that needs him. While the 76ers frontcourt has a backlog of talent, Embiid clearly is one of the best two-way centers they have. If the team can increase his minutes to over 25 per game, and Embiid can manage to stay healthy, he can seriously challenge for Rookie of the Year. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's try and aim for 4,000 likes for this next video. If you guys could leave a like, it would seriously mean the world to me. If you're new around here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I post NBA content on this channel, and I've got some awesome what if videos that I'm preparing that I think you guys will love. Comment down below who you have winning the NBA's Rookie of the Year award, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace!